many things. One thing, this is which I discovered some 50 years ago, is the tombstone of Palenque. I have to explain you this. Palenque is in Mexico. Palenque was a Maya city, an old Maya city. And in Palenque there is a pyramid called the Temple of Inscription. And deep beneath, under the Temple of Inscription, they found a gigantic tombstone, ein Grabstein. It's quite a block because it's 3.8 meter long and 2.2 meter large. And on this block, a fantastic engraving. You see a man bending forward, almost like a racing motorcyclist. He has some sort of oxygen mask on his nose, and he uses his two hands to manipulate some control. He's sitting on a sort of chair, and the heel of his left foot is on a kind of pedal. And behind him, he's sitting in a sort of capsule. And out of the capsule, you see something like a linking flame. Another point, which is always mysterious and great, is still the unknown chambers and rooms in the Great Pyramid. According to archaeology, there are only 3 rooms in the Great Pyramid. The so-called King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and under the pyramid is a so-called unfinished chamber. In fact, there are many other chambers in the Great Pyramid which are not known to the public. And I ask myself, why do they not tell it to us? And I have a reason why. The Great Pyramid was not only constructed by ancient Egyptians, there are other forces. Now just imagine they find in one of the rooms an inscription which is not from ancient Egypt. This would be a catastrophe for the Egyptians, so they cannot tell it to the public. It would be a disaster in Egyptology. Some of the crop circles are fakes. We know it. Some students made some fakes, even with their professors. But many others are not fakes, they are true. And the question is, why? What is this? Is it some sort of UFO or what? I don't have an answer. All what I have is a speculation. I could imagine that beings, intelligent beings from another dimension, it doesn't have to be necessarily from outer space, from big distances. It could be another dimension like time, or another dimension because there are many other dimensions next to our dimension. So an intelligent form of life from another dimension tries to communicate with us. And they have the possibility to do this with crop circle. But of course, humans are so stupid, they don't believe in nothing. Soon as they have one fake, they say everything is fake. And they don't take it seriously. And it's a shame for a scientific community that they do not take these phenomena seriously. I am sure if it would answer in the same way, for example, we would create crop circles, they send us a mathematical message. And now we continue with the mathematical message. Then we have some sort of communication between the other dimension and us. But in this world, nothing happened. There is definitely life out there. There are billions and billions of stars, and simply from the point of view of statistics, there must be thousands and thousands of extraterrestrial civilizations out there. And of course, some of these civilizations are much more advanced than us. We are still trying to make contact with extraterrestrials in form of radio signals. But radio signals for them is probably a primitive way of getting into contact. There must be other meanings than radio signals, because radio signals, as everybody knows, in 1 second you have 300,000 kilometers. That means if you have a contact, for example, with the Alpha Centauri, which is around 4 light years away, and now we would ask them with radio signals, how are you? Has Jesus Christ visited you too? And it takes 8 years before you get the answer. That makes no sense in interstellar communications. So an advanced civilization must have other meanings of communication. So I do not exclude these cases of contact which you say. The problem we have, different humans, different peoples, they tell us they have contact, some sort of mental contact. The problem is, you have to believe them or not, because they have nothing in their hand, no proof. You always have to believe it. Are these personalities honorous personalities? Are they correct, or are they telling us stories? So that's the problem we have. You believe it or you don't believe it. According to the Maya calendar, the extraterrestrials will return. But now you have to explain the Maya calendar. We have a calendar in our Western world which has 365 days. The Mayas also had a 365 calendar, which is very useful for the nature, for example. You know, now you can make seedings, etc. Then they had a second calendar, which only had 260 days. Now you have to imagine two different cogwheels. One cogwheel is a little one with 260 cogs. The other one is a bigger one, 365 cogs. Now you put these two cogwheels together and you make a marking, for example, with a red lipstick. Now you start to turn these two cogwheels. How long will it take before the red marking comes together again? It's exactly 18,980 days or 52 years. The Mayas believed that every 52 years or multiplication of 52, the gods will return. Now, except of these two cogwheels, they have a third one, which is called the long count. So you can play this game with the red marking over 3 cogwheels. According to Maya tradition, when the 3 cogwheels are in the 0 position again, December 22nd, 2012, then the gods return for from their long voyage. Well, we know that in some belongings we have a mess on this planet, but on the other hand we are intelligent. And mankind normally does nothing. They are just swimming until the water is close to their mouth. And soon as the water is high up here, they start to think and to work and to function and to run and to do something. Of course we will have a climate change, that's true. But on the other hand, we had climate changes in the past too, without our smoke and our pollution. Of course, it will happen one day that maybe the axis of the Earth will change. That happened in the past too. Billions and millions of humans will probably die, but some will survive. It will continue. Of course, we will have contact with extraterrestrials. I suggest at latest with the next 10 years, if not earliest. This will create problems. But we are intelligent enough, and hopefully we receive help from somebody, that we can solve all these problems. I don't think that there's one problem which will kill mankind. Some of us will always survive. Well, there is a company in the United States who has the right to make a film about my life. And they will start filming this coming fall. I don't know what the outcome will be because I'm not part of it. They are actors and whatever they do, let's see. Another American film company has the rights to film my books. In the meantime, I have 30 books on the market with a total edition of about 63 million. I just have it on the table here. I'm working on a book which I call, but this is a working title, it's not the final title. I call Erich Von Daniken Total. You know, in my previous books, I always have speculated and have hypotheses and theories, and in the meantime, I say no. I'm knocking them down and say, here you have it, believe it or leave it. I don't care. I'm 73 in the meantime, and I have to come to the close. And in this new book, I just bring the hardest, absolutely the hardest evidence, mostly in pictures, 400 pictures, then make about what you wish.